All right, all right, all right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are connected with us. We are excited to join you once again today on your favorite show, Kina Ed Show. And right with me, right here in the studio, we have our panelists, and you will just enjoy us today. So I'm going to be bringing them one after another to introduce themselves. Then we'll get started. So let me start from Dr. Bright introducing himself and what he does for David Omenukor Foundation. Over to you, Dr. Bright.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel. Bright Ugochukwu is my name. I am the Executive Director for David Omenukor Foundation, equally representing the foundation here in Nigeria. I'm so glad to be on the show. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm excited to see our doctor also showed up on the show because I don't remember that I have his picture on the flyer, but we are excited to still have you, Dr. Agawa. So go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Ashwini Agarwal. I'm one of the medical oncologists here in Dallas. I've been in practice for 25 years with the same group called Texas Oncology, which indeed has become one of the largest groups of oncologists and radiation oncologists all over the world. We have almost 600 physicians in our group, and we almost a third of my practice is breast cancer related. So this is a breast cancer awareness month, and I'm happy to be here on this show to share my experience.
Awesome, awesome. We are excited to have you. We are so excited to have you. And of course, we have the co-host himself, the one and only, Senator Alex. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Alex Wairi. I'm a co-host of this program and a facilitator of these programs too. We're welcome to the program. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And once again, I'm so excited to co-host today's show. My name is Emmanuel Adegola, and join me as we bring in the host of today's show once again as she introduces today's topic. Over to you, Dr. K.
Hello, everyone, our viewers from all over the world. Welcome to another edition of Kina Health Show. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, like Dr. Agarwal has just mentioned. And today we're going to take a little bit of a different slight to what we normally do on the show. Today we want to bring to you in celebrating the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we also want to bring to you the role David Omenukor Foundation has played over the years in creating awareness on breast cancer and interventions that we've been doing, mostly in the southeastern Nigeria, and what we do here in America as well. We want to share the opportunities that David Omenukor Foundation has for you and your family and friends back in Nigeria, and how you could benefit from our programs. And for all those people that would like to help the foundation, we will also share how you can get involved as a volunteer or a sponsor or a donor. So that's the slant that we're going to what we're going to bring to you today. And of course, we have Dr. Agarwal among us so that he can also share some experiences and maybe give us some tips on how to take care of ourselves, how to help the community stay abreast of the changes in the breast cancer issues, so that we will all live, stay healthy, and cut the death, the and reduce the burden of breast cancer in the society. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Before we get started fully, if you are connected with us on YouTube, kindly do us some favor subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, and make sure you share with your friends. And if you are connected on Facebook, of course, go ahead and like this video, share it with someone. You are not one of the panelists, but of course, you can pay it forward by just sharing this video. And we'll be back after this short commercial break, and Mr. Alex will take it over from there.
Grace too much. Ghana saved the life. Has to go to 20,000, and that was 20,000, now about 25,000, now about 50,000. When you connect it with 50,000, they don't manage to be. Sometimes when they are no free of charge, they have us here. Would be the lazy
Patients achieving. I haven't gone to any hospital in Nigeria to know how much, but I know it's expensive. I would say God bless them for giving me the opportunity to do this. And opportunity for other women who might not have the resources to do it. For instance, I'm a retiree since 2015.
Who's the next?
I'm not paying.
Awesome. Over to you, Mr. Alex.
Yeah. So, Dr. Agarwal, we may have to start with you because we normally have to establish a theoretical framework of what we are doing. Can you give us a brief explanation on what breast cancer is, what it entails, so that people can really appreciate where we are going and where we are coming from? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and thank you for having me on the show. The breast cancer, like any other cancer, there are these duct cells inside the breast, which basically produce and they carry the milk, and this is the major part of the breast tissue. These cells, they just go in what we call is uncontrolled division or uncontrolled proliferation of these cells, where these cells are just dividing and in a very uncontrolled manner. Normally, what happens in our body is most of the cells, they are dividing most of the time, but it's very controlled, and every cell in the body has a limited time span, which is called is apoptosis. And because of that apoptosis time span, most of these cells, they die and the new cells come back. In cancer, breast cancer or any other cancer, there is an uncontrolled growth of these cells, and somehow they've lost the mechanism of dying. And once they start proliferating and dividing, they start spreading to other parts of the body. The first place they spread is to the lymph nodes in the axillary region or in the supraclavicular region, which is over the clavicle. These are the closest lymph nodes. They try to spread there. In fact, when they spread, the lymph node try to contain the cancer cells, is still from spreading to other parts of the body. What happens is eventually, if the patient or the cancer is not taken care of by in this stage, it is spread to other parts of the body by bloodstream, and then it can go to the liver, it can go to the lung, it can go to the brain, bones, anywhere, and then most of the time it becomes an incurable disease. So that's a brief overview of the breast cancer.
Okay, Dr. Kina, Agarwal hasn't given us that brief background, and I want to believe that serves the objective of the yearly cancer program, which you do. Will you explain to us why DOF normally choose this period to involve itself in massive intervention in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you. David Omenukor Foundation, for several years now, we've embarked on creating awareness about the dangers of breast cancer. So what we do on a yearly basis, we partner with a facility in the southeastern Nigeria to bring women, indigenous women that cannot afford the financial cost of breast cancer screening, So we usually go to different local governments, some women, and at a subsidized rate to the foundation, they're able to get screened at the facility. There's only about one or two facilities in Owerri, which is an area in the southeastern Nigeria. So we screen these women for free. Um, as a matter of fact, last year, we had to go to some of the villages, remote villages in Mbise to use a bus to bus these women to the city where these tests are done. Because some of these women can't even afford to put food on the table, let alone go to the city. The transportation, the inconveniences, and even at the facility, as they get there, we still have to help them process the paperwork and make sure they get in line for the screening, because there are other organizations that are bringing people and sometimes they may get neglected. So it's a long process for us. It's very capital intensive. And so that's why we ask for help, for donation to help us, because it's a massive screen that we do. For the last few years, we screened over 400 women in the southeastern Nigeria.
Yeah, Dr. Bright, you represent David Omenukor Foundation in Nigeria.
It's not here right now.
He's
Okay.
gone.
Okay. Dr. Kina, I may have to come to you because you are the head. So last year, how many women did you screen and how many are you targeting this year?
We screened close to 200 women last year. And this year, our target is 1,000 women. So you can see that we need more resources. We need more funds in order for us to carry on with this project. In the next few years, I'm hoping that we're able to get our own facility, get our own equipment, where we can screen not just 1,000, we can screen 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 or more women in the area.
Yeah, at that point, Dr. Aghoa, I'm coming back to you before we continue to get details of David Omenukor's Foundation intervention in Southeast Nigeria. Now, he is talking about getting his facilities that can facilitate this service delivery. And getting this facility is not easy. But I thank God you are in that area. Can you in any way tell us how we can be able to get assistance to be able to make this project not only very constant, but more affordable?
You are muted. You can mute. You can unmute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. So first of all, let me start with this. This mammogram screening is important. It has saved lives. It has one of the things in cancer is treatment is the early diagnosis. If you can get the early diagnosis, almost 80% of these women, 80 to 90% of these women can be cured with surgery and chemotherapy and some anti-estrogen therapy. But the most important tool in the screening is still not the mammogram. The most important is we need to teach these women how to do self-breast examination, which is simple, which is easy, and no one knows your body better than yourself. And if you see any change in your breast size, shape, if you see any lump, anything in the skin, you need to first of all get to the doctor as soon as possible. So even here in America, this is because I see a lot of patients with breast cancer. This is what I promote, that all these patients, when they're in the shower, when they are taking a bath, they need to self breast exam. And if they find anything, they need to get to the doctor. Biggest problem is that some of these women, they even if they find the lump, they are in a stage of denial. They don't want to go to the doctor till the thing starts spreading and it becomes a fungating mass or it spreads to the lymph nodes or to other parts of the body. because they are in big time denial and they just don't want to accept it that they have a cancer. So that is the first thing. Now, the second part of the question is we do need mammograms because it has saved. There are a number of very large studies that have been done out of Canada, US, which has shown that over years, the mammogram has saved lives. Initially, long time ago, maybe like 5 to 10 years ago, there was a question in our mind whether mammogram, by doing the mammogram and finding the breast early, is it really saving life, or is it just what we call it in scientific term lead time bias, that we're just finding the cancer early, but eventually these patients will develop metastasis and die. But now we have proven in number of randomized trials and number of population-based studies that the early diagnosis of breast cancer with mammogram is helping. Now, how to get these resources is there are a number of organizations that we can go through. In US, there, and one of the thing is American Society of Clinical Oncology, ASCO.org. They have a lot of international programs now, and they are trying to, and they have basically all the medical companies, including imaging studies, imaging companies, they are part of this ASCO, American Society, which is one of the largest organizations in the world with almost like membership of over 100,000 oncologists. And they try to help as much as possible in these remote areas with not only education, also with providing this equipment. So that is one resource you can tap into. There are other foundations that can be tapped, and for that you can just have to Google some of these things, and you can come across some of these foundations. But ASCO, I know they have an international program that will help in this setting.
Awesome.
That's
So,
great.
Dr. Kina, so with all this that Dr. Agawa shared, so is David Omenukor Foundation engaged in all of these teachings, self test, and all those kind of things?
Sure. So, as part of our yearly commitment and creating awareness about breast cancer, yes, we do teach women even back there on self breast exam. So it's part of our program.
Awesome. So we'll continue after this short commercial break once again.
According to the International Agency for Research on Cancer, about 2.3 million were diagnosed of breast cancer in 2020, while 685,000 died of the disease same year. Worried by the danger it poses, David Omenukor Foundation, a non-governmental organization, embarked on this free breast cancer exercise for indigent women in Ihazumbisi local government area of Imo State. Some of the beneficiaries who confirmed their knowledge of the dangers of the disease say they lack the resources to carry out a test and appreciate the foundation for the free screening.
It's a joyous thing for me to be among the screen and was served. It's unbelievable. I'm going to take the message home.
I first of all want to commend David Omenukor Foundation for this exercise. I just had a mammogram now and I'm very excited. I can't wait to have my results and I would know my status.
Mrs. Carol Oris is a breast cancer survivor. She speaks of the importance of early detection.
I did radiotherapy, and by the grace of God, I'm standing here since 2015. Cancer is not a death sentence. That is why this kind of test.
Okay, so that video is skipping, depends on how it's been edited. So now that we have Dr. Bright here, I think we have to jump to just get his own comment and the report before it disappears again. I guess the internet is just, and we just celebrated Independence Day yesterday. I thought this should be part of a new year of independence. Anyway, over to you, Mr. Alex. Any question?
Yeah, right. We've been talking about the intervention, what the David Omenukor Foundation has been doing in Southeast Nigeria. Can you just give us a little bit of what you've been doing, how far you have gone, how you manage the challenges and all that? You just let us hear from you as the man on the spot.
Sorry, Mr. Alex, can you repeat the question? I didn't get the earlier part.
Okay, I'm saying that you are the man on the spot, and therefore we want to know from you what you've been doing over these years. How many years have you done this program? And the number of interventions you have made. What are the challenges you are facing? How do you manage the challenges? And how are you planning to do this of this year? What are the time? When are you starting? Who and who will benefit from this program? Who is qualified to come to your program this year?
Thank you very much. I apologize for that break in transmission. David Omenukor Foundation is fully committed here in Nigeria to stop the cancer scourge, choosing October, the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, according to the international body. So it has been sponsored solely by by our donors and also by our many corporate organizations that want the scourge of cancer to go down. So we launched this program 2 years ago, and you can't. If you hear the testimonies according to the videos that we're playing very soon, you will know that we still have a lot to do. And that is why we have introduced this year's own very last month, so that people can also breathe a sigh of relief again this year. For this year, we are commencing on the 30th, but the window for the GoFundMe is still open, and you can save a soul. You can save a soul. Over 200 women benefit from this program each time you do it, and is something that we need to work with. Is something that we need to improve, and is something that you cannot underestimate. As I speak to you now, a lot of people who would have had very deadly issues if not for the screening, we manage them as we categorize them as our referrals, because for each screening we do, we hand over the result. If something that is not comfortable with us, for us, we refer the patient. So one of the challenges we experience is the huge crowd. Everybody wants to participate, but the finance is meager, and that is why we appreciate our donors so far, and we also continue to appeal that if it touches your heart, please save a soul. And in a country like Nigeria, and if we go down to the southeastern part of the country, you have only one area you are doing this investigation. And you can imagine when one area is serving a population not less than 4 million, you will see that a lot needs to be done. So the huge crowd that want to get screened, and unfortunately, it doesn't cater for everybody because the finances are little. So we call on our donors, we call on our corporate sponsors, banks, both here in Nigeria and in the US. Please, this is a time to save a soul again in Nigeria so that we can keep moving. Thank you.
Yeah, but right before you move, let me ask you, is there only one screening center in the whole of Imo State that is really functional? Do you have other screening centers, or you just have that one? Do you have only one screening center? And apart from the crowd, what are the other challenges you meet?
Did you get the question? It looks.
Have you frozen?
It looks like we are just looking at the picture. Is gone actually.
I can answer some of those questions. As far as I know, there's only one functional facility there. There might be a few others that are beginning to pop up, but not that we're aware of. So, and that's a facility that we've been using, not just for breast cancer. They help us with other cancer screenings. And the other challenges are, I remember one of the last year, the way we arranged we arranged last year's screening, we went to churches, from one church to the other. And we got to a church that nobody from that church wanted to get screened because they said they rather not know. And so that was still mind-boggling, like in the 21st century, that people are still not wanting to get screened. So there's a lot of education that needs to be done in the rural areas. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we face.
Well, okay, go ahead, Mr. Alex.
Okay, Dr. Agowa, I hope you are following our intervention. And like you also said, that American Society of Clinical Oncologists, as well as Google Search, could be of assistance. Well, because I'm asking you this, you can see the challenges are very enormous. In the whole of Imo State, you have only one screening center, and the crowd that is popping up is that they're not able to be coped. Nobody is able to cope with them. And beside that, the funds are severely limited, just dripping in. So I'm still coming back to you, Dr. Agowa. Is there anything you could do in terms of helping trigger off any intervention from any part of the United States? Is it possible?
You are muted, possibly.
Mute yourself.
We can't hear you. No, it's not muted, actually.
He's freezing.
Okay. While the efforts are on to unfreeze him, Bright, are you back?
No,
He's gone. So, Dr. Gar, what you can do is you can exit and possibly come back. That will help your sound. So we'll be back after this short commercial break. Let's fix all fixable, and we will be back.
Omenukor Foundation, promoting free cancer screenings.
My name is Chanyang Doris. Based on what I have today, well, I'm a bit scared, but because of the testimony I have from people that have suffered on the disease, so I believe I need to check my breast to be free. I'm so happy because it's not easy. People that have done it told me the amount, but look at, I'm here today to get it free from David Omenukor Foundation. I'm so happy. I thank God and I praise them. They should keep on doing it. God will bless them.
My name is Lucy Apakama. Yes, I think it's important. Actually, I've been asked to do it some years back when I was 42 years. I'm 57 now and I've not done it because I've been scared. But for today, I've made up my mind that I'm going to run this test. That's why I think it's important. And I've been having some signs that I overlook, and I've been praying that, that God should please remove them from me. But let me do this thing and do it once and for all. Yes, you can't know how happy I am because I have been looking at money, and I know, even if I've not gone to ask for how much, those who have gone have told me how much it costs, and I don't think I can afford it. It's a hell lot. So for somebody to come out and say, I want to do it free, I thank the organization, David Omenukor Organization.
Okay, so we can continue. I think the edit of that videos make it to be freezing and freezing. Okay, Mr. Alex, back to you.
Yeah, Dr. Gina, I'm coming back to you. At this point, Dr. Kina, you can see one of our greatest challenges in this program, in this intervention, is finance. A lot of awareness creation has gone on there. And like Bryce said, people are surging, but it is not easy to cope with the surge. So how have you been financing this great program, and how do you intend to continue to finance it?
So for the past several years, David Omenukor Foundation has solely been sponsored by well-meaning individuals, a few corporate organizations, and and you can tell that we have not reached out to several individuals because of the limited resources. And so that's why we are calling on volunteers. If you're a grant writer, you can reach out to us. There is so many grants out there that David Omenukor Foundation can tap into. And annually, we do have GoFundMe since COVID started. But prior to that, we used to have fundraising dinners. And since COVID started, we've been doing GoFundMe, and we've been able to use whatever trickles in to assist the limited number of women that we could back in Nigeria. So if you're, you can make personal donations, you can make corporate donations, you can refer us to your friends that can help us if you're a grant writer or you just a volunteer. However you can chip in, please just reach out to us at www.davidomenukorfoundation.org, or you can contact us through our cell phones or email, and we'll be happy to help save another life.
So this is tax. Is this tax deductible?
It is tax deductible. Yes, we do.
In US.
Yes, it is tax deductible. David Omenukor Foundation is a 501c3 organization, and we'll send a receipt to you as you send your payment, and it is tax deductible. Yes.
Okay.
And actually, there is an ongoing GoFundMe that possibly maybe Dr. Kina or Dr. Bright might also want to talk about that. The link is showing right there on the screen. You can take the picture, and also we have this flyer that maybe you have a community that you might want to send it to. So Dr. K, you want to go ahead and talk about the free mammogram that is going on and how people can participate.
Sure. So we launched this GoFundMe last month. And so we're beginning to receive some funds. Some people are more comfortable donating to their account in Nigeria. It's quite welcome. And we have a GoFundMe. And some individuals have actually reached out to me because they do not want to do GoFundMe, so they rather do Cash App or Zelle. And, whichever way that you want to reach us, or write a check or mail a check or make a direct deposit in the bank account. So it is trickling in. So what we will do from October 30th, we will go back to the facility. We'll start scheduling. Bright has been inundated with calls, women that want to get a free mammogram because they've heard about it. So every year they're already waiting for October to see when we'll start the exercise. So from October 30th to November 30th, the phone number is on the flyer. You can call to see if you're eligible to get a free mammogram. So we take them little by little, depending on how many individuals that the facility will allow us to screen on a daily basis. So it's first come, first serve until we run out of funds.
Awesome. Over to you, Mr. Alex. I think you are trying to ask Dr. Gara some questions.
Yeah, Dr. Gara, did you pick the question I asked you, or you want me to repeat?
Yeah, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, the question I was asking you was, you being in the field and with your level of experience, 25 years, and having seen what we are doing in Nigeria, the level of challenges, you have already given us some tips. I'm asking, like Oliver Twist, yeah. Can you give us more? And we need some people who can help us build facilities. We need humanitarians who can help us, not only building facilities, but equipping it. So this is exactly where I'm going to. Is it, do you have any idea? Or can you direct us to where we can do that?
This is a, I mean, there are lots of resources in America which we can tap into. One of the things, like you said, is these fundraising dinners should be good. To make increase the fundraising dinners, they do two things. One is it increases the awareness amongst people that there is a big need over there and we need to help, and also they get an idea that it's also tax deductible. So that is another thing. um, Texas Oncology, somehow the organization I work for is one of the largest organization, but they do a lot of charitable work inside US, but I don't think they have an international thing. I can bring it up in their board and see if they can help some uh, uh, outside US. So they do have a foundation for US patients. We help them here as much as we can. My other question was, once you diagnose these patients with, let's say, on a mammogram with a lump or something that needs to be biopsied, what do they do to get these patients to the next step? Because if they cannot make it to the next step after the diagnosis, all the screening procedure is kind of futile. So are they able to get to the next step of biopsy and then the treatment of the breast cancer over there? Otherwise, they may need some help in that direction as well. Um,
Dr.
So,
Kina,
so that's a question. Yes. Once a lump is identified, they actually get a follow-up sonogram, which we also sponsor. And at that point, if it's malignant, we'll refer them to the oncologist, and they will take it up from there. Many times, we have also helped these patients in getting the treatment that they require. So you can imagine that the job is huge.
oh
And,
yeah, this
it,
is your job. This is because once
it,
the
it
diagnosis, then
it
the
never
next phase, the
ends.
treatment is
Correct.
even more expensive, and the follow up and everything is very important in these
Yes.
patients. But thanks for doing such a lovely work, and this is really important what
Yes.
you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Kina, that takes me to an area that I want to know from you whether you also receive some encouragement from your colleagues, health professionals, in terms of the people who can help you donate professional skills. Apart from money, do you have health professionals that normally donate their skills without charging you? Or what is their level of experience in that area?
I would say yes. Both here and prior to COVID, we were also very active here for colorectal cancer awareness month and all of that. So yes, somebody like Dr. Agrawal is his time. He's been on the show many times. So that is time and money also. And Nigerian Physician Association, most of them have also donated their time, to come on the show, to support us. And if we have challenges back in Nigeria, I usually have them to consult with them. And so they are willing and able to help us. Nigeria is a little bit difficult because everybody in Nigeria is challenged financially. So there is nothing like volunteerism in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you have to give stipend to all the professionals, whether we're using optometrists or the surgeons or the oncologists or the radiologists. So those professionals back in Nigeria also need some help themselves. So, but here we also do a lot of work here. We have also supported a lot of breast cancer patients with their bills or payments. We collect resources for free colon cancer screenings. So or whenever we have facilities for free mammogram, we share all those information. So it actually takes time and effort. So it's just a huge job. So it's not only in Nigeria that we are doing the work, we're also doing it here in America.
Yeah, and you can also establish some kind of telemedicine. So if you have a panel of doctors here who can see some medicine or advise after the diagnosis, what is the best treatment course for these patients, that may be helpful as well. These days we are doing a lot of telemedicine in our group also. So the patient can be easily set up with some center over there for telemedicine consults.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's good.
Also, I know this might sound somehow, but maybe it's a question or maybe it's a comment. So, like talking about what the foundation is doing, is there anything Nigerian government, and when I say Nigerian government, it might be at the state level, it might be at the national level, it might be at the local level, that they could do also to support the foundation? And possibly somebody is watching this and you know someone in authority that you know could also be of assistance to what the foundation is doing. So what we're asking you is share this video with them, and possibly you could make the connection between the foundation and that person. So is there anything, let's say assume there's any government official that happens to accidentally be watching this, or someone in position of power, or someone that just have some free money playing around, to apart from GoFundMe, that could also use to support the cause? Is there anything you want to tell that person actually? I know the program today is not as we actually planned it, because we've not even asked more than one or two questions from what we have as our question. Over to you, Dr. Kina.
Yeah, okay. Dr. Kina, before you answer that question, it is also good for you to combine it with the fact that Nigeria has a Nigerian Cancer Society. I don't know whether this Cancer Society has any affiliation, or what is the affiliation it has with the DOF. What level of assistance do you receive from them? What is the area of cooperation and partnership? And does Imo State you have that branch, or is that branch is just located in Abuja or Lagos or whatever? So take it from there.
All right, that's a lot of questions combined together. But definitely, Nigerian Cancer Society, who Dr. Umar is Dr. Adamu is the current president, they've really worked hard in bringing all the cancer NGOs in Nigeria together. So yes, we are all under the umbrella of Nigerian Cancer Society. They are making a lot of moves in governmental policies. So there are several policies on the table that they are looking at, and Nigeria is a very difficult country to work with. Things are beginning to change in Nigeria. Nigeria just got their first PET scan, and I think it's the only PET scan in the whole of West Africa. So an organization in Lagos has now a PET scan. So a lot of things are moving. There are several first ladies in Nigeria that have cancer organizations, and there are so many doctors with all their own non-governmental organizations. So we are really moving together with one force, and making sure that we are represented up there in the government, in their policies about healthcare. Is a huge burden, but they are doing some work in areas of cancer. And yes, there is Nigerian Cancer Society that was established in Owerri in the eastern part about 3 years ago. And we actually work with them, partnered with them in a few of the World Cancer Day activities.
Yeah, but you have not stated if they have ever given you any level of support in terms of funding, logistical support.
Well, no, there is have not gotten any funding from any of the organizations in Nigeria, but we work with them logistically, supporting us in some of our healthcare outreaches back in Owerri. Yes.
Okay. So, and that takes me to an organization I know, the David Omenukor Foundation has been also working together with, and that is a UICC, Union for International Cancer Control. So what is your relationship with that organization, and how are you benefiting from them?
Union of International Cancer Control is a body that brings all the cancer organizations together in the whole world. As we speak, everyone is getting ready to go to Geneva because this year's convention is held in Switzerland, and I think it's also headquartered in Switzerland. So we are a full member of that organization, and so they support us with research, resources, and they actually help with funds. They do have grants if you will qualify. So it's a great organization. And Dr. Bright is one of the lucky ones that will be headed over to Switzerland in just about a week or two for that World Conference. So we are full members of that organization, and we are hoping to tap from all the resources that they might have.
All right. And that takes us over to how can we, in the face of where we are now, because from all you are saying, you can see the issue of funding remains fundamental. It remains a great challenge. But I do know that most of the communal organizations we have here that do a number of functions and everything, nobody seems to be taking much interest in this story on cancer. Because I want to believe if they had taken interest in it, we could go further than where we are. Is there any way you think, from your experiences, even with church groups and church organizations, is there any way anything you think could be done to get them more interested in this crusade? Dr. Kina, are you with me?
Yes.
Yes. Is there any way we can get them more involved? There is a lot of nonchalant attitude, like as if it doesn't concern me when it comes to me. So,
yeah. Well, all I can tell you is that everybody has their struggles. Many people that have, since David passed away almost 10 years ago, we started creating this awareness. I know and I believe we have saved a lot of lives just with the little that we have done. Our community is a special community, and you just have to take them for whom they are and what they are. We're going to continue to keep pushing and keep educating people. I believe a lot of it is lack of education. And if we continue to find our way with those individuals, continue to educate them about the importance of the awareness. And because I know that many of them, everybody is just going through one thing or the other. We've had several deaths here in Dallas from one type of cancer or the other. And many times it's found late. So I'm pleading with them to please listen, join these shows. There's always one or two things to take home from these shows. And allow whoever has the knowledge or the information to please share it to the benefit of the community.
Awesome.
Well, let me just jump in there. Before we, even though as we begin to be rounding off gradually, talking about support from community, I believe there is a lot many of us can do. Even though many, especially in our community, would love to compete with one another. When you see this person doing this kind of show, you want to do the same thing instead of just teaming together and see how you can be of support. Now, how can you be of support? Like this type of show, it starts from you just sharing it. Just share the video. We talk about the flyer also. Just share the flyer. If I share the flyers to 200 people and 10 people share the flyer to 200 people, that is over 2,000 people. If we have 1% conversion ratio of that, that is 20 contributors and donors right there. So it just starts from right there. Or you know somebody in power, you know somebody in authority that could be of support. There are a lot of all these rich people in Nigeria, politicians in Nigeria that, and I believe government have budget for most of all these things, even though they don't use it for anything. And you know somebody in power like that. Or just to make that connection also, you could save a life, you could save 2, 3, 4, even 10. So it starts from there. Then putting a call through also and just ask, how can I help? Also help. You know, you can just make a call to either the representative of the foundation right there in Nigeria, or you can call the CEO here, or you can call someone like Mr. Alex, and you can just, okay, maybe you have the time, you want to volunteer, what can you do? It goes a long way. And this world will be a better place if all of us can just look at it in that way, that it's not in the world of competition, but synergy, collaborating together to make it a better place. Okay, that's just all what I want to say. Okay, over to you, Mr. Alex.
Yeah, Dr. Agowa, I'm coming back to you. And we've been talking about how to prevent cancer and how to make sure you will pick it up at the early stage. That is very awesome. And I don't want to forget to thank Dr. Emmanuel for this wonderful advice to our people, to the communities, to the churches, to the listeners, and to the viewers. So, Dr. Agowa, back to you. Now, if people, those that already have cancer, here you people know what to do about them, because this place has been organized and is established. You have processes, you have procedure. But down there where we are focusing today, some of these things are not well established. There are a lot of challenges. So let us creatively ask you, how do you think those who have that challenge right away, who have entered into the problem, is there any way you think it can be handled?
To establish something in Nigeria about the treatment
Not
process.
just establishing, but in addition to establishing, but those who already have it, how do you think they can be managed so that they can live a little bit longer? In addition to establishing whatever.
Yeah. So the thing is, like I said, the biggest thing in breast cancer diagnosis and other diagnoses is the early detection. Once you early detection, you can cure 90% of these patients with the right treatment. So you have to focus. It's like a whole vertical integration, right from the diagnosis. The next step is the treatment, and then the follow-ups, follow-up mammograms. So the whole thing has to be established. Again, I cannot stress the importance of self breast examination and early treatment. Um, I mean, that has. I think I've diagnosed more patients by self breast examination than even by mammograms. So that is that's another very established thing. Fortunately, in America, breast cancer is almost a political issue. It's a huge political issue. So any women with breast cancer in America, they will get the full treatment no matter what, whether they have insurance or no insurance. They will get the complete treatment, from chemotherapy to surgery to radiation, which are the ways we treat the cure the cancer. What we used to do in some of the, when I was in India long time ago, over 30 years ago, because India had a lot of these poor ladies who cannot afford even the treatment for some of these breast cancer after surgery, like chemotherapy or anything. We used to do, like in some of these who had already gone through the childbirth process, we would recommend oophorectomy in these patients, and that oophorectomy itself would save a lot of lives, because these patients were not able to afford chemotherapy or even anti-estrogen therapy. So oophorectomy, taking off the basic, if they have completed their childbearing function, I mean, oophorectomy is another very good way of saving lives in some of these remote areas.
Okay, Dr. Kina, I'm coming back to you. As we are rounding up, I want you to, if you have a message for the various communities, for the beneficiaries, for corporate organizations, as well as individuals who have been partnering with us. Do you have a message for them to help more, push more? Can you push them more? Do you have an appeal to make?
Yeah, so as we're rounding up on this topic of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and what David Omenukor Foundation has been doing in the past several years, I want to thank all those that have supported us in any way, financially, volunteering, both here and in Nigeria. They are on ground. Um, um, Usually when we do our colorectal cancer awareness month, the Nigerian doctors, the Nigerian nurse practitioners, and Nigerian nurses, they all join to support those efforts. And I want to thank all the panelists that have been bringing valuable information to everybody, both here in Nigeria, and I do know that people are listening all over the world. I thank all of them. My appeal remains that there's still a lot of people who do not know. There is lack of knowledge and or education to various communities. I appeal to them to have an open mind, open up their hearts, so that they will be willing to take the information that they need. And it's not just information for us to stay healthier and live longer, but for our younger generation, our children and our children's children, this information, if they impact this information to them, their life will be a better place. And I want everybody that can support us. If you're an IT person and you want to volunteer an hour or two a day, we need IT people that can help us with websites, digital marketing. Any little help helps. Financially, if you can donate, a $25 can screen one woman back there. If you donate $100, it will screen about 4 women. So please join us in this crusade as we strive to continue to save more lives back in Nigeria.
Wow, that sounds like a closing speech to me. So
that's what it is.
Well, I mean, it's anytime we talk about cancer is an emotional topic that is only when you've had your family member, your loved ones, possibly maybe affected. Maybe you will take it more serious. And like what we'll be talking about, like the book by the CEO that is she's been working on for the past almost 2 years. The title is A Cancer Takes a Village, the testimony of the spouse and children of a cancer victim. It takes a village, okay? It takes a village. And when we're talking about this, it's just all what you can do. The little ones you can do: donation, support, calls, recommendation, a text message, sharing this video, subscribing to this YouTube channel. If you are watching on YouTube, is part of it, because it will help, it will help, it will help, it will help. And if you know any of these politicians, I keep saying it because they have the money somewhere and they don't use it for anything reasonable. So if you connected with Obi, you connected with Atiku, or you connected with the one in Lagos, you can just link the foundation. Just, you don't know what that might do for somebody out there. Okay, I guess it's more or less a closing. Mr. Alex, I hand it over to you to close the show. And
well, it's already closed. You want me to give my takeaway?
Oh, yeah.
My takeaway is that everybody should join the foundation, whatever contribution you think you can make. Well, that is the theme of today's message.
All right. And the CEO has already gave our own closing speech. So thank you so much for connecting with us today. And once again, My name is Emmanuel Adigbola, and we'll see you next 2 weeks or whatever the announcement is made. God bless you. Have a blessed day.